What's the most satisfying revenge you pulled off after catching your spouse cheating? I thought everything was fine between us. We were the typical suburban couple, both working professionals, stable financially, healthy, good in the bedroom, and raising 2 kids. I believed we had a normal social life. We were just going through a usual rough patch that comes with marriage. Both of us were working late, not spending enough time together. Our son was having some developmental issues, and the tension in the house was higher than usual. I noticed she was on her phone a lot more, texting with her friends, but I didn't think much of it. I tried harder to leave work early when I could, help out around the house, and be more emotionally present. But over a few weeks, things just drifted further apart. One day, I charged an old iPad for my son and saw her Facebook Messenger still logged in. I found a bunch of questionable messages with a guy named Jim from her hometown. They weren't completely inappropriate, but I knew some were missing based on timing and context. I told myself to watch it but focused on trying to fix things. The next day, after I took the day off to get some projects done around the house and left her some sweet notes, she was again in the corner texting. I took the iPad to work and watched her messages live. She and Jim were mocking me, making fun of my flaws and the private things I had shared with her. It wasn't outright explicit, but there was a clear intimate tone, especially when she criticized my performance in bed. I screenshot what I could, but she deleted messages as they came in. I wasn't ready to confront her then. I stayed at the office drinking until she went to sleep. I took the next day off to think, drink, and figure out what to do. When she came home, she asked what was wrong, and I just said I had a bad day. Minutes later, I watched more of the messages unfold. For a couple weeks, I kept taking screenshots, drinking, and pulling away. The messages got more intimate, with her fully engaged in Jim saying I love you. I talked to a lawyer and began to move forward. Then it got surreal. I found out Jim was visiting town to spend a weekend with my wife at a nice hotel. I missed some details, probably a phone call they had, but I figured out when and where. The next day, she was acting sweet, saying she wanted a spa weekend with her friends to relax, and when she got back, we could work on our marriage. I played along, thinking it was a good idea to save us. I got the lawyer to draft a separation agreement where she would move out, get weekend visits with the kids, and no child support until the divorce was final. Then came 2 hellish weeks. Most of my feelings were gone, replaced by a rage I never knew I could feel. On the day it all started, I took off work, withdrew half the money from all our joint accounts but left her half untouched. I redirected my paycheck to a new bank, closed our money market account, got a cashier's check for her half, and deposited mine into the new account. I printed about 75 pages of screenshots from Facebook Messenger. I killed time because I didn't want to be home. She texted me she was leaving and said she loved me. I told her to have fun. I showed up at the hotel around 8:30 p.m. and called her phone from the lobby. It went straight to voicemail. They were probably together already. I asked the front desk if I could use the phone to call Jim's room. It rang a few times before he answered. I told him, "Hello Jim, can you send my wife down to the lobby, please?" He denied knowing what I was talking about. I said, "Okay, then I guess I'll call Mrs. Jim and have her come down." Total bluff, I just knew he was married. I gave him 5 minutes. Less than 2 minutes later, my wife came out of the elevator, looking flustered. I sat her down in the lobby corner. She started making excuses, saying it wasn't what it looked like. I told her, "I'm not here to argue. Everything in these papers is the truth. The only way I don't share this with your daughter, your parents, and everyone we know is if you move out immediately." She was proud and scared. Her daughter was going through a rebellious phase, and knowing the truth would ruin their relationship forever. She was also her parents' favorite, and she cared a lot about their opinion. I didn't have much leverage except shame. Her career depended on her image, and I knew she would protect it. I handed her a check for her half of the money market account and told her I withdrew my share from the joint accounts. She had more than enough to find a place. She started crying a little, and I could see the flood of emotions crossing her face. But I pressed on. "Here's a separation agreement. It's more than fair, considering everything. I need you to look it over, sign it, and leave it at the house when you pack your things. Do you want to look through these screenshots?" "No." I told her, "Go have fun with Jim. Don't come back here, or I'm sending these to everyone." I left the lobby before she could break down. I got to my car, drove to a parking lot, and let out a mix of crying and rage. Before, I would have broken down in front of her, yelling and crying, but this time I held myself together enough to get through it. I don't know what she did that night or over the weekend. She called and texted me constantly, wanting to talk, but I just turned my phone off. By Monday afternoon, the movers were at the house getting her stuff, and she had delivered the separation agreement. I let her talk to the kids, telling them, "Mommy and Daddy need some time apart, but we still love you," the usual stuff when parents split up. After a week, she wanted to have a serious talk. I agreed, since I had my head clear and knew what I wanted. She was full of apologies, begging for another chance, desperate to get her family back, crying on her knees in my lap. I had no intention of taking her back. I told her to schedule marriage counseling on her own time, at a time that works for me. I said I couldn't live with her anymore, but she should stay involved with the kids to keep a relationship with them. So, our new normal became her coming over 3 nights a week, cooking dinner with the kids, cleaning, doing laundry, then going back to her place. We went to counseling, where she worked through her problems and begged for forgiveness while I just sat there playing the victim. I wasn't going to give her another chance. I was just killing time, making sure I was the primary caregiver for the kids and that she wouldn't live in the house anymore. After a few months, I started seeing my own therapist and was diagnosed with depression and post-traumatic stress disorder. I asked my job if I could go part-time to deal with my personal issues, and they said it was okay. After 6 months of therapy, I told her I still couldn't forgive her but wanted an amicable divorce. I told her she was still the love of my life and maybe someday we could try again. She was crushed but agreed to the divorce if I promised to maybe try again later. When the divorce was filed, I needed the kids to want to stay with me. I left a Google search for "How to Survive Wife's Infidelity" open on the shared computer at home and left some printed articles about cheating in the kitchen where they might find them. My daughter found them and came to me crying. I told her she wasn't supposed to see those, but that mom made a mistake, that mom still loves her, and that I would always be there for her. My daughter, who used to look up to mom, started screaming at her and wouldn't talk to her anymore. That broke my wife. Not surprisingly, when the court asked for the kids' statements a few months later, my son followed his sister's lead. They both wanted to live with me in the house they grew up in. When the divorce was final, I got the house, primary custody, and generous child support because I was working part-time. For 2 years now, I've been living with my kids, working part-time, getting financial help from my ex, and having my fun on weekends while she has the kids. To my kids, I'm the hero who took the high road and never gave up on them. To my ex, I'm the one she lost and will always want back. She tries to seduce me every time she visits, hoping I'll take her back, but that will never happen.